This is Flashpoint. It's a TV show about Donald Trump and how much they love him. They basically run propaganda on Trump's behalf. So I want to see what they're saying right now about Donald Trump and what a great job he's doing. Let's give it a listen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gene Bailey. You're watching Flashpoint. Glad you're with us tonight. Listen, if you're doing anything, you need to go share this. You need to get a pen and paper because you're going to want to write some stuff down tonight.
Oh boy.
Tonight, we have some things that if it wasn't so crazy, you wouldn't believe it. It's really staggering, some of the information we're going to share with you tonight. So
I bet.
Make sure you're ready. Go share this on all your social media outlets right now so you don't have to do it later. Go share it. Let people know Flashpoint's on, and they're going to share some stuff that nobody else knows. All right? So
nobody else knows. Okay.
Listen, I want to remind you, if you ever can't find Flashpoint, you can always go to our Rumble channel, rumble.com/Flashpoint, or flashpointarmy.com. Flashpointarmy.com. You can see all of our programs there as well. Now,
I'm moving soon. I'm moving to Pennsylvania because New York City is absolutely out of control. It's insane with the amount of money that things cost, specifically the prices. YouTube and social media in general are untrustworthy. I would really appreciate if you guys checked out my website, signed up for my newsletter. It's owenmorgan.com/signup. Check it out. SIGNUP. owenmorgan.com/signup. Sign up for my newsletter because I have a feeling that with social media going the direction it's going right now, I want to make sure that I have a connection to my audience, no matter what Twitter is doing, no matter what any of the others are doing. I would really appreciate it. I'd just send you an email once a week, maybe twice a week with the stuff that I'm up to. You get exclusive stuff, access to exclusive videos and things. Also check out my books, owenmorgan.com. I had to renew the SSL certificate on my website recently. Totally forgot that it ran out, but anyway, my website's back up. Yeah, I would appreciate it if you guys signed up for the email list. All right, let's continue.
Dedicated outlets watching us, thank you for being with us. All right, so much news is happening. I've asked Mike Garofalo, the Victory News managing editor.
That was Garofalo.
To give us an update. Mike?
Gene, President Trump had a number of phone calls today with the leaders of Canada and Mexico after announcing over the weekend that he was implementing a 25% tariff on each country due to not so much because of the trade imbalance with each nation, but rather because of their failure to stop drug trafficking.
Oh, is that why he said he was doing it? Yeah. The problem is that, tariffs hurt us. They hurt us terribly. Yeah, they hurt them, but they hurt us. A lot. They probably hurt us more than they hurt them. And B, that's not what tariffs are for. It doesn't work if this is what you're using them for. Tariffs are for discouraging outsourcing and encouraging American-made goods. That's it. If you're using tariffs for a punishment, then you're dumb as dog shit. So naturally, Canada puts more tariffs on the U.S. Now, the U.S. has completely destroyed the relationship that we had with Canada. Good job. They were our largest trading partner, I think. Our closest ally, I would say, in proximity and in friendship, I suppose. And Donald Trump is tearing that down bit by bit. So Canada announced tariffs on the U.S. also, retaliatory tariffs. And Donald Trump realized, this doesn't go one way, this goes two ways. Shit. Well, he canceled the tariffs or delayed them for a month or something. After he got absolutely nothing. He got nothing. Canada agreed to do exactly what they said they were going to do in the first place. They said this back in December that they were going to do these things that Trump wanted. They did literally nothing new. So anyway, Donald Trump tanked the stock market for fear that tariffs were going to hit. Freaked people out for absolutely no reason, and got in a trade war with our closest allies for nothing. Nothing. Good job, you dumb son of a bitch. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, let's continue.
The point being, as the president's senior counselor for trade and manufacturing, Peter Navarro, said earlier today, this is in
By the way, Peter Navarro, I believe he spent like time in prison because he was involved in January 6th in some way. I don't remember exactly, but he is a colossal scumbag, a bad person. He's like Roger Stone in that in his heart, he's just straight up a bad person. He's crooked. What did Peter Navarro do? Yeah, he went to jail, reported to a federal prison in Miami, former White House official, contempt of Congress, sentenced to 4 months in prison for his refusal to comply with the subpoena, was integral to the plan to overturn the election with like false electors, specifically, I believe. And a grand jury indicted him on 2 counts of contempt of Congress when he refused to comply with like the investigation. That's what it looks like here. He is just like a really bad person.
The point being, as the president's senior counselor for trade and manufacturing, Peter Navarro, said earlier today, this is in fact a drug war, not a trade war.
No, it's a trade war. And if it's not a drug war with Canada, and if it's not a trade war with Canada, it's a drug war with Canada, it's definitely a trade war with Mexico and Colombia and all the other places that this poor dumb fool wants to, flex on or something.
The Mexican government understands that this is a drug war, not a trade war.
But it was over immigration. What are you talking about?
We have an unprecedented amount of Americans dying every year from fentanyl alone. And it's roughly
like suddenly he gives a shit.
The same number, about 75,000 annually, that are going to be sitting in the Superdome for the Super Bowl.
I don't think that's accurate, but okay, whatever.
And it's more by a large margin than the number of soldiers we lost in the Vietnam War. And this happens year after year after year.
Well, let's find out. Yeah, we lost, we lost 60,000 U.S. military in the Vietnam War.
Fentanyl alone. And it's roughly margin number, about 75,000.
Hold on. How many people die from fentanyl every year? Yeah, 2022, 73,000 people died of fentanyl overdoses. That's what it looks like.
Annually, out of Americans dying every year from fentanyl alone. And it's roughly the same number, about 75,000 annually, that are going to be sitting in the Superdome for the Super Bowl. And it's more by a large margin than the number of soldiers we lost in the Vietnam War. And this happens year after year after year.
I'll give him that. Sure.
Navarro went on to explain China makes the precursor chemicals that are then blended by Mexican drug cartels into deadly fentanyl.
That's correct. Actually, it's mostly South America and not Mexico, but okay.
Pills. But they also spike other drugs with fentanyl like heroin and speed, which put the annual...
What the hell is speed? Are you... And they're not showing speed here. This is, actually, this is... I'm not actually familiar with the colors. This looks like Molly based on the color, but they have the markings of roxycodone. It's like OxyContin kind of, but it's instant release instead of extended release. Is that what fentanyl looks like right now? I haven't seen it before. I used to be familiar with the fentanyl patches, like people had the patches around, but I never have seen the pills.
Number of American deaths per year at more than 100,000.
If Canadian citizens themselves can understand that what we are trying to do here is stop the killing of Americans by these deadly drugs, to stop Canada from allowing terrorists on the watch list, up to 100 have already come in, from entering our...
Bullshit. There aren't terrorists on the watch list coming into the United States through the Mexican border or whatever. It's just complete fabricated nonsense.
Country.
The Trump phone calls today with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum resulted in a 30-day delay in the beginning of tariffs for either country, along with 10,000 Mexican troops being sent to the border. This is what White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to say about the matter on Friday.
Again, like all this shit was already agreed to, like before Donald Trump got involved at all. And by the way, terrorists may be coming through the border. I don't know. I have no idea. But these people like to, let me rephrase, some terrorists might be coming through. I do know for a fact that it's not like massive numbers. It might be like 2 or 3 who have been designated terrorists or are on the terror watch list or something. But it's not massive numbers. It's just not. Additionally, these people fearmonger about it constantly. They can't shut up about their personal belief that pretty much everybody coming over the border is a terrorist. Fictitious trash.
Both Canada and Mexico have allowed an unprecedented invasion of illegal fentanyl that is killing American citizens and also illegal immigrants into our country.
And just in the last few hours, that second phone call between Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump took place about the tariffs that are set to begin tomorrow, Tuesday. A post from Trudeau after the call said this: "I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and..."
Like they literally already agreed to this like 3 months ago or something.
Personnel.
Like before Donald Trump was even involved, they agreed to this.
Enhanced coordination with our American partners and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. A 30-day pause in tariffs like Mexico was also agreed to. As for China, the White House says a phone call between President Trump and leaders in China is expected to take place in the next 24 to 48 hours.
I understand that China is taking a different tactic with the tariffs, and they're basically trying to burn the U.S. to the ground. Canada and Mexico were gracious in ramping down the trade war, on de-escalating. When Donald Trump dropped the tariffs, they started to drop them too. China doesn't give a f***. They're ready to destroy Temu.com, Wish.com, or Alibaba, or any other thing. They're willing to make it impossible for us to get any of the shit there because it's so incredibly expensive. And aside from that, a lot of our manufacturing is done in China. In fact, I believe that Apple produces iPhones in China. Android produces iPhones in China, although I think a lot of those are Samsung. Not all of them, but many are Samsung, which I think is South Korean. But the point is that we get a lot of goods from China, like more than people probably realize. And Donald Trump doing this is destroying our ability to function on a daily basis because there are going to be so many so many goods that are so incredibly expensive now as a direct result of Trump's dumbass.
And also today, reports out of Mexico say that drug lord Ricardo Gonzalez Soceda, head of Cartel del Noreste, has been arrested in Nuevo Laredo. The arrest happened after Donald Trump's recent calls for Mexico to take out cartel leaders.
Are the two things connected? No idea. They've probably been looking for this guy for a while, but they're going to claim it as a W anyway. Was he even arrested? I mean, these people lie about the most ridiculous trash. They just make shit up all the time. So don't believe a word out of their mouths. Certainly not if it's positive about Donald Trump. They cannot be trusted. You need to find another source.
Gene.
Thanks, Mike. You can always catch Victory News weekdays at 12 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern right here on the Victory channel. Go to govictory.com/Victory News for...
Yeah, like... Victory News is slightly more objective or maybe neutral than this show, for example. But they're still very biased in story selection, and their fact-checking is mixed at absolute best, or terrible at worst. Additionally, these people, the Victory Channel is owned by Kenneth Copeland. They like to blend news and commentary together and like kind of blur the line so that people can't tell what's commentary and what is actually news. This is commentary, but they purport to be news, like this show right here.
For all the latest information on the news as it happens. And then make sure you watch us at night. All right, let me bring in Nate Schatzline, representative right here in the great state of Texas. Nate, you hear all this with the tariffs. We're going to get into Texas a little bit later because you need to be doing your job down there. But let's talk about, what we're really seeing. You hear all of this happening. Does this strike you odd that all these world leaders are backing down to President Trump?
They're not backing down, though. That's the thing. They're not backing down. They didn't back down. Nobody backed down. They all agreed to do exactly what they had already intended to do, that they announced before Trump even took office, like months before. There's no backing down, no capitulation, no agreeing, no none of that. They are creating a victory where there isn't one.
So quickly?
No, I think what we're seeing for the first time in a long time is just pure leadership. We've got President Trump for the first time in the last 4 years. We're seeing a president actually do what he said he was going to do and deliver on promises. Also, we're talking about the man who authored The Art of the Deal.
But he didn't. Literally none of this is true. Not one word of this is true. He didn't author The Art of the Deal. A ghostwriter wrote The Art of the Deal on Trump's behalf.
And so we're talking about a man who, when he throws out a threat of, hey, we're going to add tariffs and this is going to be bad for your country, we see Canada immediately cave. We also see...
Canada did not immediately cave. They didn't cave at all.
And just to be very clear, Trudeau is a beta male to the core. He is going to cave to an alpha male like Trump immediately.
These people have no idea how embarrassing they are. To say some shit like this, it is so embarrassing. I can't believe that he just came out and said that shit. I would be hiding my head in shame for the rest of my life. You know, you ever been laying in bed and you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep because you're thinking of that stupid shit you did in 3rd grade? That's what he will be thinking about in 10 years. That's going to be his thing.
And we're going to see something happen to where all of a sudden America is not going to be taken advantage of anymore. This is exactly what needed to happen.
How was Canada taking advantage of America? I don't understand.
Is America first policy at its finest, and we're seeing it happen in real time. It's exciting.
It is exciting. All right, let me bring in Ed Rush. Ed, what do you think? Same question.
What a week. What a week, by the way. I mean, last year, throughout the whole year, right, we were doing shows. And I was thinking, January 2025 is going to settle down. Things are just going to settle down. And this week we got to see, sit, Justin, sit. Good boy. Good boy.
These people are really, really low and fucking weird and disgusting. What a weird thing to say. Seriously, this beta male stuff. And not just that, but let me find this one clip. Hold on. Here it is. Yeah, here it is. That rap song that Roseanne did with that one guy, Tom McDonald or whatever. It's called Daddy's Home. Daddy's Home. That's the name of the song. Let me jump to Roseanne's part and turn it down.
You mad, you cry, we laugh.
It's vocals only.
We wave the flag.
They try to cancel me and say that I'm a racist. Got a mean hook. They can't get me with that jam. With the shit.
I mean, this is real, people, okay? This is real. Real human beings put this together and looked at each other afterward and said, this is loud.
Trying to take away my right to go and save this. Well, listen up, because this gun is going bad. With the facts. Why they trying to turn Becky into Dan? You get tap.
Dude, why is he milking a cow right now? It looks like she's shooting a gun sideways, okay, why is he milking a cow, though? I don't understand why he's doing that.
Screw Eminem! I'm Roseanne!
God, I hope with everything in me, I would pray to the non-existent God if it meant that Eminem would respond. I would do anything. Anyway, the point is that these people are just, embarrassing as they get. Oh my God, how do they go to sleep at night, honestly? It's why do they keep talking about Trump being dad or being the owner of a dog or whatever? I mean, I really preferred it when they framed Trump as the new Jesus. I would really prefer that they did that instead, because this is really, really hard for me to handle.
That's what it felt like there for about a day. It's just fascinating to see what happens when you project strength. And what was interesting too about this tariff bill was what the words between the words, right? So
Trump didn't project strength, he projected shithead, and didn't realize that he is not the only one with power in this equation. Canada has a ton of power because we trade with them. We get like a lot of lumber from them. We get all kinds of shit from Canada. Farmers get, what's it called? Potash, a chemical that farmers need. And Canada has like the largest supply of it. Yeah, the United States may have the largest army. It does. But everybody knows that Trump isn't going to use that army on Canada. And if they did, then they would have to face the might of the world bearing down on their heads. It wouldn't just be like the Canadian military. It would be every European country. It would be Iran. It'd be China. Russia would all come in to destroy. They would back up Canada. They would all back up Canada's troops, all of them. There's one quick way to turn the entire world against us. So the only might that the United States has to use against Canada is basically economic manipulation. And Canada is very rich in resources that the United States uses, that the U.S. needs. Militarily, not so much. Resource-wise, Canada's got it. So Trump thinks he's more powerful than Canada. No. Maybe by a little bit, but Canada can really bloody our nose if they want. And they will have the backing of every European country, too. So is Canada stronger than the U.S.? No. Is Canada, Australia, all of the European countries, hell, even China, are they all combined stronger than the U.S.? Absolutely. Economically, yes, for sure. Probably militarily, too. Yeah, the U.S. has the biggest military in the world, but imagine fighting a 5-front war with different countries. Not happening. Point is, Donald Trump is not the strongest. He's not. He's just not. The United States is not the strongest. And if Trump believes that, then he lives in a delusion. But we already knew that about him, didn't we?
25% Canada, 25% Mexico, and 10% China. Now, I would submit to you that the real trade war actually is with China. This tariff with China was not a tariff to get some concession on day one so that we could write that one off. I think it was very clear this first tariff was about the drug trade. By the way, and finally, so personally, I lost 2 of my siblings to this fentanyl crisis literally in the last 7 years. And it's like, finally.
That's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that for him. Fentanyl is a scourge. It's a blight on society. Unfortunately, it gets its hooks in people. You know, I didn't do fentanyl. I've never done fentanyl, but I was hooked on opiates for a while. And it's like, it's a nightmare to get off of. It's really, really hard. So I respect that. It's an embarrassment for these people that their brother is going on here encouraging this stupid shit from Donald Trump.
We're getting serious about this. By the way, we were tracking aircraft coming from America, military aircraft now flying over Mexican airspace. This is the first time we've seen this in a while, too. So I think the entire development is very exciting. We've won a few battles now. Certainly haven't won the war, but it's really good to see things moving in the right direction.
It sure is good to see it moving in the right direction indeed. So much is Pastor Hank, let me programming note, Pastor Hank, we gave him the night off. If you did not see the Omaha Flashpoint live.
I thought about watching that one, but nah, not right now.
Next level, you should go back and watch it right there on Rumble and catch up with what happened. Man, we had a great time. So he's got the night off. We'll see him again tomorrow night. Let me ask you, in fact, let me show you this. This is J.D. Vance. And, you talk about, Ed, the projecting the strength that we need. And you said that too, Nate, that what we're seeing with President Trump is so different than what we've been seeing for the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's not projecting strength. It's projecting belligerent dipshit that thinks he's at the top of the world when he's not. And the world, Europe, and everybody else, Europe being our allies and everybody else being our adversaries, are working together. They are all working together. Like, Trump is uniting the world against the United States right now. Is what's happening. Good fucking job.
It's almost shocking to watch. Now, I have received emails from friends in Canada.
You don't have any friends. Don't lie.
I don't know, but they decide that they got my email address and they were emailing me about, we got to be careful, and Canadians are, very, we're very proud people. And I understand that, and so you should be. But this is President Trump has made the decision to put America first.
Wow, that's fascinating. He's saying that he got emails from Canadians that basically said, you better be careful because you're burning a bridge right now hard. And this isn't a bridge that you can unburn. I love that.
Because that's what the American people did. They did that to make America first. So I think we have to understand that's his job. That's why so many Americans came out.
His job is to be a complete fucking shithead? No, it's not. That's not his job. His job is to guide the United States economy and military and stuff to get the most advantageous results for the American people and for the world ultimately, and to protect democracy on a domestic and a foreign level. That's the president's job, I would say. How is any of this shit doing that? How is he accomplishing any of that shit? Any of it? This is just like sad, disturbing nonsense.
To put him in office doesn't mean we're going to run roughshod. And I see a lot of the liberals posting, we told you he's going to be a dictator. See, there's a dictator.
Well, yeah, I mean, he is absolutely doing dictator things, completely disregarding the Constitution. He said he wanted to throw out the Constitution to whatever. He did. He threw out the Constitution. I don't know if people were aware of this. I did a video about it recently, but he's completely disregarded the Constitution. He's violating the Constitution right now, and there's no recourse because the people that would arrest, Elon Musk or whoever for letting this happen said that they're just going to let it happen. It doesn't matter. They don't care. It's just going to continue. He's going to continue to do whatever he wants with absolutely no recourse. That is dictator level shit. I mean, that's dictator shit. That's what dictators do. He is being a dictator, as he said he would.
No, he's just showing strength. He's just showing strength. Well, let me show you some.
No, he's being a dictator, taking control of the U.S. government and breaking the separation of powers and breaking the checks and balances in our system is dictatorship. That's what a dictator does, and he did it. And there's no sign of stopping in the future.
Someone else showing strength. I just love hearing J.D. Vance. Watch.
It looks different ways and comes in different forms, whether you're talking about Canada or China or Mexico. We know that Mexico has allowed the facilitation of the illegal drug trade and illegal sex.
No, they haven't. They haven't allowed this stuff to happen. It's just been happening. I'm sure they don't want it any more than anybody else.
It looks different ways and comes in different forms, whether you're talking about Canada or China or Mexico. We know that Mexico has allowed the facilitation of the illegal drug trade and illegal sex trafficking for years and has done nothing about it. If they want to be a better partner to us, the time starts now. We know the Chinese, of course, have stolen American manufacturing jobs for 30, 40 years, and also
China has, I'm sorry, one more time.
If they want to be a better partner to us, the time starts now. We know the Chinese, of course, have stolen American manufacturing jobs.
They haven't done that. Chinese haven't stolen American manufacturing jobs. American manufacturers gave the jobs to China through outsourcing. Now, outsourcing can be good, actually. Outsourcing can help an economy a lot, but sometimes it hurts an economy. Or sometimes there are all kinds of different reasons to not have outsourcing, domestic instability or whatever other thing. And in those cases, when outsourcing is hurting the economy, the president can put tariffs on that industry to make it so that manufacturers don't import as much, don't outsource as much. They work within the country. They build the industry here. So I got to ask, first of all, why is Trump not doing that with the tariffs? Why is he completely misunderstanding how tariffs are supposed to be used and not trying to bring jobs back to America? That's not what he's doing with tariffs. And why didn't he say a word about China stealing jobs or whatever? It wasn't about stealing jobs like the tariffs weren't.
for 30, 40 years, and also that they facilitated the trafficking of illegal fentanyl into Mexico, where the drug cartels then bring it into our country. We are sick of being taken advantage of. We still have, thank God, the biggest economy in the entire world, the best people and the best workers, but the message from President Trump to the entire world is very clear. We are done being taken advantage of, and we have a president who looks out for the interests of American citizens.
The U.S. is not being taken advantage of. A trade deficit is not being taken advantage of. It means you're importing more goods than you're exporting, for example. That's not like China getting one over on you or whatever the f. It's like, you know, Donald Trump allegedly graduated from Wharton School of Finance or some other shit. It's like he learned literally nothing. Does he even know what a tariff is or what it is for? It's not a punitive, tool.
Thank God we do, and we're going to try to do it the best we can.
Can midterms help slow him, asks Barbara Erlinger. If we have midterms, Donald Trump has decided that he's going to violate the Constitution, and he's just going to do whatever he wants. If he wants to follow the Constitution, then he will follow it. If he doesn't, then he won't. If we have midterm elections, it's because Donald Trump has decided to have them, not because the Constitution demands it, which is disturbing for all kinds of reasons. So could midterms slow him down? No. What he's doing right now couldn't be slowed by midterms because he's cut Congress completely out of the equation. That's the problem, that he's ignoring Congress completely. He's sidestepping Congress and pretending they don't even exist and that they're irrelevant. So no, midterms wouldn't slow him down. Only thing that would slow him down is getting him out of office. Through impeachment, through whatever, but impeachment's not happening. It's just not happening.
I love that. Let me bring in our next guest, Rick Green's back. Rick, you heard J.D. Vance, and he's talking about we're tired of being taken advantage of, and I'm just like, finally,
no one's being taken advantage of. You poor dumb fool.
There's somebody there that gets the American people. They're going, wait a minute. We knew there was crazy spending, but we had no idea what we're about to unpack tonight. Your thoughts?
Right. Elon Musk lied about a bunch of stuff, so I'm assuming that's what they're going to cover.
It just keeps coming, man. It's better than triple cake, triple chocolate cake with extra, syrup on top. I mean, you put all the good stuff in there.
Bro, I'm so hungry.
What they're doing is even better than that. And I tell you what's next, Gene. I'm hoping that we won't be taken advantage of by these rogue, wimpy U.S. senators that are doing the button-pushing filibuster, where they put a hold on some of Trump's nominees. What a joke. I'm ready for J.D. Vance to walk over there into the Senate, grab that gavel, say, I'm the constitutional president of the Senate. And any of you turkeys that want to try to delay any of these appointments, you better strap on the catheter and be ready to stand and talk just like Mr. Smith goes to Washington. So do your best, Jimmy Stewart. But once you pass out, you're done, and we're running that nominee through.
He's literally calling for dictatorship. And Rick Green was a federal judge or a state judge or something. He was very, very high up. It was an elected position that he is which tells me that he knows exactly how all of this works. He knows exactly how it works. And he knows that what he's doing right now is calling for a dictatorship. This is insane. To me, insane. How can Rick Green do this? He is trying to get the United States to no longer be a democracy. What the f is happening right now? Jesus Christ, bro. Really?
I'm sick of these fake filibusters. It's not even a real filibuster. So anyway, it's both international and national. Everybody knows there's a couple of new sheriffs in town, and I'm not tired of winning yet, but it just seems like not every day. Gene, we've talked about it. It's like every hour. I mean, you just go, whoa, did you see what happened? You got to keep watching your phone just to catch up with all the wins, right?
Yeah, all the wins, he says. This is what dictators do. They move very, very quickly because there are no checks and balances on what they do. And Rick Green knows this. He went to law school. He's fully aware of what this means. He shouldn't be advocating for this. This tells me that he is anti-democratic and he is looking for an opportunity to destroy the United States. That's what this is saying to me
right now.
Yeah, it is staggering.
Traitor to the U.S. government, if you will.
What we're seeing. Jason, let's go off format here for just a moment. I know you find that shocking. What Rick just said, it's been amazing to see these nominees. So I want to say this to you, Flashpoint Army. You guys you responded. You did what you were supposed to do. We got on social media. I called for this, and then I called for it again Thursday to call and help tell your senator to push through that you wanted all of President Trump's nominees confirmed. You wanted them confirmed. Well, I believe you showed up. Look, you guys actually did it. And I'm stalling. Okay, here, let me show you.
Yeah, he was very obviously stalling.
Show you this, what happened. What number is that? That's number 29. I've got to read it. The U.S. senators, I can't see it that far, guys. You're going to have to, I don't have that one. The voicemail system is overrun. 600 calls a minute. Did you see that? 600 calls a minute. Nobody can get a call in. And so what happens?
And they think that this is like all in favor of the nominees and all from Flashpoint.
I wish Dutch Sheets was on tonight because I would tell him about
charm hole. Vaccination's a leading cause of SIDS. No, it isn't. You're welcome to spew your nonsense as long as it's not blatant, open disinformation that will get people killed. You want to talk about God being real? Go nuts. You want to talk about how, hell, you know what? You want to talk about how you believe that, like, gay marriage is wrong, then we can have that conversation at the very least. But spreading garbage like that is out. Sorry.
His friend there in South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, for some reason, Rick, has decided he's going to vote for RFK and Tulsi and Kash Patel.
I just saw that a couple hours ago.
I believe that, in fact, I would be surprised if this weren't the case. I believe that Donald Trump's weird little nutcases are intimidating people, intimidating the senators into voting for who they want, into doing what they want them to do. Yeah, I heard Mitch McConnell fell downstairs recently, and I wondered to myself, was this Trump's weird little nutcases? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not, right? This probably wasn't somebody that, like, got into the building and decided to push him. But you gotta wonder. Trumpists are willing to do literally anything to take power. Literally anything.
I was watching that, I was going, gee, I wonder why. You know, this is one of those deals where they...
Why is there a trend with lots of gamers being sucked into the far-right stupidity? I have no clue. I don't know why this is... I don't know why this is happening, but yeah, it's a problem for sure.
And Kash Patel.
I just saw that a couple hours ago. And I was watching that, I was going, gee, I wonder why. You know, this is one of those deals where they don't see the light till they feel the heat. And Gene, the Flashpoint Army put the heat on. The American people have put the heat on. Donald Trump's putting the heat on. And they are seeing the light. One at a time, man. One at a time. We're getting them through.
Just so we can all enjoy it, Flashpoint Army, here's Senator Lindsey Graham.
Assuming you're yes on RFK Jr., assuming you're a yes on Kash Patel, what about Tulsi Gabbard?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be yes on her. I was waiting to see what she said about 702.
Tulsi Gabbard is very obviously a Russian plant. Like, I don't think that her problem is really that she's an extremist. She is. I don't want her anywhere near government in the United States because she's so clearly a Russian plant.
That's the ability to track foreigners overseas who may be involved in plots against the country. I actually served in a reserve unit with Tulsi. I've always liked her. I think a lot of her criticism against her has been really mean and off base, but I'll be a yes now. She's shown her understanding of how vital 702 is, so I'll be a yes on.
So he's saying that his concern is that Tulsi Gabbard was like, what do you call it, like a kind of a Russian plant, a Russian spy. That's what he said just now, right? Even Lindsey Graham worries about that. I mean, that should tell you something, right?
On RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and Kash Patel knocked it out of the park.
Kash Patel is a Nazi, full-blown Hitler-loving, Sieg Heiling Nazi. Yeah, I don't actually know if he's Sieg Heiled, but He goes on Stu Peters. He's been on there like a bunch. And Stu Peters is a full-blown Nazi. Says that Hitler was a hero for doing things that he did in the Holocaust, for example. Stu Peters has other Nazis on all the time. Kash Patel is a Nazi and does not belong anywhere near a position of power, ever.
Antidote to Crossfire Hurricane. He's going to go in and clean the FBI out to make sure.
Crossfire Hurricane, if you don't remember, that was where Donald Trump, during the 2016 election, Obama's CIA, I believe, was monitoring Russian known Russian spies. They had their phones tapped. They were listening to like what they were saying, and people from Donald Trump's campaign kept calling them, and they were like inadvertently intercepting conversations between the Trump campaign and Russian spies. They're like, what is going on right now? They started investigating why Donald Trump's campaign was contacting known Russian spies. And that was Operation Crossfire Hurricane. And Donald Trump said that they spied on his campaign. No, your stupid, dumbass campaign managers were calling Russian spies. Known Russian spies was the problem. Anyway, he dragged the FBI for that hard when they were just doing their jobs. And they tried to Trump tried to get the FBI to turn over a list of names that were involved in investigating that whole thing or investigating him at all, January 6th and everything. And the guy that has the list in his head, I guess, refused. He said, no, I'm not giving you the list. He basically said, I'll die before you get this list. And as far as I know, to his credit, he never gave the list. Up to this moment, as far as I know, Trump never got the list. So mad respect for that dude. But that's what Lindsey Graham is talking about here. Crossfire Hurricane.
Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel knocked it out of the park. He's the antidote to Crossfire Hurricane. He's going to go in and clean the FBI out to make sure it's never abused like it was in the past. And
it was not abused when it was investigating why Donald Trump's campaign manager was calling Russian spies. That was not an abuse thing. Jesus Christ.
Crossfire Hurricane was one of the saddest, most dangerous chapters in FBI history. He's the guy that helped expose it, and he'll
really, really disgusting and sad what he's saying here.
He'll be the solution, not the problem, when it comes to the FBI. In my view.
I'm telling you, it's great. I always did like her. I always did like Tulsi Gabbard. Go ahead.
He looks like a hostage. He looks like somebody that just had all their sugar, licked off their lollipop by somebody else because he doesn't get to grandstand. He doesn't get to be the.
What? I'm sorry. What was that? One more time?
Go ahead.
He looks like a hostage. He looks like somebody that just had all their sugar, licked off their lollipop by somebody else because.
Had all of the sugar licked off their lollipop by somebody else. What the hell? What does that mean? I'm a fan. I want to start using that moving forward. I guess that's like the sourpuss face, right? Like you just took a bite of a lemon. Somebody licked all the sugar off my lollipop.
He doesn't get to grandstand. He doesn't get to be the final holdout vote. He had to give in. So he just I'm going to be voting for the. I mean, he just looks so sad that he's going to have to do it. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't think that's a sad thing. I think it's a disturbed thing, probably. And, I wondered how these people are going to react to a full-blown coup on the U.S. government, which Rick Green knows full well is what has happened. And now I know. Now I know how they would react to it. They're in favor of it. They want it. They think it's a good thing. That shit is about as disturbing as it gets. So this is how democracy dies, with applause. Is that what it was? I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've seen the movie. Star Wars Episode 2, I think, maybe? Anyway, watching democracy die right in front of your eyes is a disturbing thing to witness. That is for sure.
All right,
I can't help but smile.
But we still got. All right, I need Kentucky. Kentucky, you guys, Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
We need.
Because McConnell is the senator for Kentucky, or one of them, yeah.
Need to bombard the switchboard. You guys got the switchboard number again? There it is, 202-224-3121. And let's hit that switchboard, especially you Kentucky folks. Mitch McConnell is not representing what you voted the president in that you wanted. He's supposed to come in line. He's not.
No, Mitch McConnell's not supposed to do that. It's called separation of powers for a reason. Mitch McConnell is supposed to represent the people of Kentucky, and if that means there's conflict between the U.S. government, like the federal government's interests or the president's interest, and Kentucky's interests, then Mitch McConnell sides with what's best for Kentucky. Technically speaking, that's his job. Like, the reason that the system is structured this way in the first place is to make sure that the president isn't like a king, and that there is pushback against him. That's the purpose. These people want a king. They don't want a president. They want a king.
Doing that, and we're not going to say what I'm not going to say what I think he's doing. But anyway, you need to tell him what you think. So call, be nice, and say, hey, vote for President Trump's nominees. Nate, let me get your take on this. I mean, it really does make a difference when the Flashpoint Army shows up.
I really hope that they do not approve those nominees. This is what the Senate is for. This specific thing right here. They're supposed to protect they're supposed to put like they're supposed to put a layer of protection on the process to prevent the president from running roughshod over everything and everybody. In my personal opinion, this isn't how the Constitution has been interpreted. Historically, not even when it was written, but my personal interpretation of the Constitution, it says that they need the advice and consent of the Senate. The president needs the advice and consent of the Senate to approve their nominees or whatever. My personal interpretation of that is they need their advice. So the Senate gives the president like 15 people to pick from, and then the president picks from that group of people. Or they can hold a vote. That would be my personal kind of interpretation. And I think that would like be a way better system. But, who am I, right?
You're not kidding. Listen, we see this in Texas all the time. The moment that I go on Flashpoint and the Flashpoint Army begins to apply pressure, things change in government bodies. Look, I want to just highlight what Rick said because I think it's so key. And that is, until some of these legislators, their feet's to the fire, they're not going to respond accordingly. What I found about government is if it can be done in the dark, it will be done in the dark. But the moment that you put light on it, it begins to expose the things that everyone else can see. That's why it's so funny looking at Lindsey Graham on that video. He's in shell shock because for the first time, these cabinet picks are being highlighted as something the American people are viewing. This is like the NFL draft. In fact, with how the NFL has gone woke, this is more popular than the NFL draft. As we're watching these...
The NFL went woke? What?
Incredible people come to the table, and we're watching senators for the first time be held accountable by their constituents, not just from their voting record, but by approving those that are going to oversee the bureaucratic state, which is arguably more important and more powerful than even our elected officials. We can have a...
Yeah, what he's talking about is he's talking about Project 2025. All right, the bureaucratic state, when he says that, he means like the EPA or the SEC, the Federal Trade Commission, the people that like regulate the internet and stuff. These organizations or whatever were created, they were legislated into existence by Congress. Congress passed a bill that legally brought them into existence, and it was approved by Congress and then by the Senate and then signed by the president. And the president, it's under the executive branch, which is under the president. The president disperses funds that have been allocated by Congress to fund these organizations like the SEC and the FCC and all of that other stuff. Hang on.
Record, but by approving those that are going to oversee the bureaucratic state.
So the bureaucratic state, that's what the bureaucratic state is. Trump, the president, has absolutely no control over the bureaucratic state. Nobody should have any control over it. It's scientists that are hired to work there. It's not a political system. The bureaucratic state isn't. The EPA isn't supposed to be political. They're just supposed to be people that are there studying and determining if, this chemical causes cancer and should be banned or whatever. That's it. Donald Trump, and more specifically Project 2025, said that they intend to hollow out the whole system and force all of the people that didn't vote for Donald Trump to quit and replace them with Donald Trump voters. They're politicizing the system, and that spells death for the system. That spells death for the United States democracy. It is impossible to articulate how bad it is that he's hollowing out the EPA and stuff and replacing them with like his own sycophants. That is really, really bad.
Which is arguably more important and more powerful than even our elected officials. We can have a conversation about how that shouldn't be the way that it is all day long. But what we're seeing is we're seeing real patriots actually coming to the table and having to do the right thing, as well as the uniparty in the swamp having to do the right thing because of accountability. And so I just want to say to the Flashpoint Army, you're not just powerful, but you're becoming more well known. Look, I'm talking about videos that I'm posting on my X account. The moment Flashpoint Army jumps on them, they go viral. It's incredible.
That's right.
Yeah, it is, and I love that. I got the greatest job ever talking with this group of people. All right, so listen.
No, I have the greatest job ever. You are mistaken, good sir.
All right, so there's Kentucky, and I'm going to go ahead and say Indiana, Alaska, with Murkowski. You guys we got some real jobs to do here, and we need to rally. And listen, what I want you to do in the comments of social media, put down there that you called. Let us know you called. If you're Kentucky, say you called. Say what state you're from that you called, and keep calling. We do not want anybody else to get through that switchboard. We need to push these nominees through.
Well, I mean, that's their constitutional right. I don't like that they're trying to box everybody else out. That's disturbing. But whatever.
I'm especially excited with the RFK. I'm sure like you were sitting there watching or listening like we were. We were driving to Omaha last week, and, Terry and I were taking turns, and she was, we were griping at the radio and, Sirius XM in the hills of Kansas talking about, what was going on. Ed, it's a new day. Who used to ever pay attention to what happens with nominees, with these appointments?
It's a new day and a new.
I mean, people paid attention to that stuff, but you know why they're paying attention above all else? Because these people are unglued from reality. They're complete nutcases. There is no connection to reality for any of them. Kash Patel, full-blown Nazi. RFK Jr., full-blown conspiracy theorist. Like, these people are real disturbing. And I feel like anybody paying any attention at all should be watching that.
Way. I mean, I honestly, if you had asked me a year ago, I would have said, I'm very optimistic. In fact, I said that on this very program a year ago. I said, look, I'm very optimistic, but I would have never imagined that we would have seen what we've seen so far in just the first 2 weeks. And I will just tell you, we're winning. I'm so thankful. I never thought I would ever say this. I am so thankful that President Trump had 4 years in between terms. It's given him the ability to pause, to reflect. Frankly, it's given him some humility to put him.
No, it has not given him any humility. Where did you hear that? Who told you that? How could you possibly conclude that Trump has humility?
I think in a space of humility before God, and he's come back with a real actual plan, a plan to save us a lot of money. You can see all the things that he's already done, taking bills off the table, including USAID, which is an amazing move today.
That's not taking bills off the table. That is violating the Constitution. He's not allowed to do that. That was written into a bill that was signed by Congress, by the Senate, by the president, and put into law. The president cannot just decide not to do that anymore. This is a constitutional crisis. This is a coup of the U.S. government. What are you smoking? Who is this guy? I don't know who he is. Do you have a law degree? Do you know anything about this?
Today, you can see what he's done in terms of the cabinet picks. You can see what he's done in terms of negotiation. This is the result of 4 years of thinking, like, what would I have done differently in the last 4 years? And I would just look at
Donald Trump isn't really even deciding on this. This is largely Project 2025.
The eye, you members of the Flashpoint Army, first of all, congratulations. You've done a good job.
And you know what else it's the result of? It's also the result of the Supreme Court creating protections for Donald Trump, making it so that he can never face accountability for anything that he does in this office. He's literally immune from any consequences whatsoever. That is some disturbing shit right there. He hasn't even begun to do the worst of what he intends to do. I'm 100% confident on that. And I am moving out of New York City because I don't want to be in a densely populated area when all of that shit starts.
This came because of prayer. It came because of fasting. It came because of action. Those three things, okay? And you did a really, really good job. Now,
actually, it came because of apathy. People just didn't care enough.
The temptation and the tendency in the church for the last 6,000 years has been when things start going well, the temptation is one of two ways, either complacency or pride, okay? One of those two things. I'm just going to look you in the eye and just say, keep it up, keep it up, keep praying. Keep submitting before God your requests and keep praying for the president. I will just tell you that he's doing a good job. In the past, though, he's tended towards one of those two, okay? Not complacency. He's turned in the other direction. And I will just say right now, I feel like all the speeches that I see from him, all the communication that I see, I think he understands his role and his place before God and the American people right now. I think that's the case. And I would just say, continue to pray for your president. Continue to pray for those folks in Congress and the Supreme Court. Pray for their safety. This is a really important year. Pray for their safety. But yeah, good job too. Real good.
I said this before, but I don't support the death penalty at all. We catch 4% completely innocent people. Death row has 4% of the people just completely innocent, didn't do anything to anybody, and are in there for absolutely no reason. Walking down the street, they were grabbed and, put in prison on trumped up charges. They didn't do jack shit. Innocent people, and they're going to be killed by the state for nothing. And until that number is 0, I don't believe in the death penalty. I just don't. Hang on.
Continue to pray for your president. Continue to pray for those folks in Congress and the Supreme Court. Pray for.
So I take this seriously. I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't believe in people's deaths. I don't want anybody to die. Nobody. And I approach every problem as though the person who is perpetrating that issue can be reformed, can be rehabilitated. But I do take solace in the fact that, I don't want Elon Musk dead. I don't want anybody dead. But I take solace in the fact that he's going to have to live the rest of his life in fear of what's going to happen next. Yeah, he can afford bodyguards for the rest until the end of time, sure. And maybe for that reason he doesn't care much, but he'll never be able to go outside and get in a car without wondering if it's rigged with explosives. Again, I don't want that to happen. But I do take solace in the fact that he will live in fear of it at the very least. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think about these poor fools in the comments. It's just embarrassing.